You know, baseball is a game steeped in tradition. And for generations, the human element of the umpire has been a core part of it. We've accepted missed calls as part of the unpredictable nature of the sport. But then, there are games, like the one we saw this past Saturday between the San Francisco Giants and the Minnesota Twins, that push the limits of that acceptance and reignite a fiery debate about the very future of officiating in Major League Baseball. Get ready for a statistic that's going to make you question everything you thought you knew about baseball officiating this season. Home plate umpire Adrian Johnson, in that Twins 2-1 victory over the Giants, missed a staggering number of pitches. Out of 130 pitches thrown in the game, Adrian Johnson missed 22 of them. Let that sink in. 22 incorrect ball or strike calls. According to the popular and highly respected Twitter account, at Umpire Auditor, which meticulously tracks every call, Johnson's correct call rate for that single game was a shocking 83.1%. Now, if you follow Umpire Auditor or umpire scorecards at all, you know they track every umpire. Every game, they have the data, and their finding was clear. Adrian Johnson's performance on Saturday was the absolute worst single-game performance by any umpire this entire season. The undisputed worst, and by a wide margin. The numbers tell a damning story. Umpire Auditor specifically noted that Johnson missed 17 calls just through the first 6 innings. And, compounding the frustration for one side, 13 of those 17 early misses went against the Minnesota Twins. You can already start to feel the tension building. Can't you? A close game, a low-scoring affair, and a strike zone that seems inconsistent. To put it mildly, the boiling point was reached in the 5th inning. With 2 outs, Twins manager Rocco Baldelli had seen enough. He erupted, arguing calls, and Adrian Johnson did what umpires often do in that situation. He ejected Baldelli from the game. You could see the raw frustration on Baldelli's face. The feeling that the strike zone was directly impacting his team's ability to compete. And Baldelli wasn't alone in his frustration. Social media, specifically Twitter, absolutely blew up. Fans and pundits, armed with the data from accounts like Umpire Auditor, voiced their outrage loud and clear. One user wrote, their words reflecting a common sentiment about accountability. When they fall below 95%, they need to be removed back down to the minor leagues. Umpires need to compete for positions. Another added, expressing sheer exasperation. The guy is horrendous. This is a regular occurrence. MLB doesn't care. The numbers from umpire scorecards actually show that prior to Saturday's game, Adrian Johnson had a correct call rate of 94.25% for the season. That actually placed him in the top half of MLB's 84 umpires. But a single game where you miss 22 calls and dip to 83.1% accuracy? That kind of performance is going to cause a significant, and deserved, drop in those ratings. The specific call that seemed to be the final straw for Rocco Baldelli, and many watching, was a 2-1 count to Twins shortstop Carlos Correa. Johnson called the pitch a strike. Replays and pitch tracking data clearly showed it was a ball. That controversial call is what precipitated Baldelli's ejection and ignited much of the immediate fury online. Post after post hammered home the point. Adrian Johnson was an absolute embarrassment to the game tonight. Read one post. The naked eye saw it. Rocco saw it and was ejected for it. And, the stats back it up. Pathetic. Another user echoed the sentiment about the inconsistency. It's been a joke of a strike zone all night. Adding a direct challenge to the governing body for umpires, the Major League Baseball Umpires Association, needs to address how bad this has been. This kind of historically poor performance inevitably brings the conversation back to the automated ball strike system. Or ABS. Major League Baseball has been testing ABS in the minor leagues and even had it in spring training. Incidents like Adrian Johnson's game on Saturday are powerful ammunition for those who want to see the human element replaced. At least when it comes to calling balls and strikes. With the consistency of a computer. It's currently unclear if MLB plans to implement ABS later this season or in the playoffs. But games like this only increase the pressure. The calls for action against Adrian Johnson aren't just about one bad game. They're about accountability and the integrity of the game. Fans and pundits argue that performances this bad shouldn't be tolerated at the highest level. Calls range from immediate demotion back to the minor leagues, forcing umpires to compete to get back to MLB, to outright firing. As one ex-user sarcastically suggested, a temporary solution to keep Johnson out of a position where he calls balls and strikes. Keep him behind third base maybe. Ultimately, the Adrian Johnson game highlights the ongoing tension in baseball between tradition and consistency. Between the human element and technological accuracy. How many missed calls are acceptable? What level of performance should be the minimum standard for a major league umpire? And when a performance is statistically the worst of the season by a significant margin, what should the consequences be? This wasn't just a bad game for one umpire. It was a frustrating reminder for everyone who loves baseball that inconsistent officiating can fundamentally impact the game on the field, the outcome, and the experience for players, managers, and fans alike. And it fuels the fire for those who believe the time for robot umpires might be arriving sooner than we think. A single game on Saturday night has put the spotlight firmly back on umpire performance in Major League Baseball, with home plate umpire Adrian Johnson at the center of a firestorm of criticism following the San Francisco Giants-Minnesota Twins matchup. In the Twins' narrowed 2-1 victory, Johnson's performance behind the plate was statistically one of the worst seen all season. According to the widely followed Umpire Auditor account on X, Twitter, Johnson missed a staggering 22 of the 130 pitches thrown in the game, resulting in a correct call rate of just 83.1%, the lowest single-game mark recorded by any umpire this season. The data shows Johnson missed 17 calls through the first 6 innings alone, with a significant majority of those 13 going against the home team, the Twins. The frustration boiled over in the 5th inning when Twins manager Rocco Baldelli was ejected after disputing a crucial 2-1 strike call on shortstop Carlos Correa that appeared to be outside the zone. The poor performance and the manager's ejection quickly led to outrage on social media. Fans and pundits did not hold back, with comments calling Johnson's performance horrendous, an absolute embarrassment, and pathetic, labeling the strike zone a joke. Calls mounted for accountability, with some demanding his removal from the major leagues and suggesting umpires should have to compete for their positions based on performance metrics. While umpire scorecards data showed Johnson had a respectable 94.25% correct call rate entering the game, placing him in the top half of MLB umpires, this outing will undoubtedly cause a significant drop and intensify scrutiny. This controversial game serves as potent fodder for those who advocate for the implementation of the automated ball strike system, or ABS, as a means to ensure consistent and accurate ball and strike calls. As the debate continues, performances like Adrian Johnson's on Saturday night will likely keep the pressure on MLB to address umpire quality and the potential role of technology in calling the game.